what I need. Right, yeah. I really need China.
Nicole. My Facebook is Nicole Colston. I also have a Color with Nicole Facebook business page. But mainly Instagram is like my main platform. I'm kind of like revamping my page a little bit. But you guys can feel free to follow me on there. If you ever have any questions, feel free to message me. I do advanced continuing education, like of my own education. I travel with Brazilian blood and flower around the country and facilitate seminars for them. So when I'm not doing like platform work for them, I'm doing Color with Cold classes. So if you want to reach out, have any questions after today, you can feel free to do that. I don't really talk about myself, but a little intro about myself.
Do it.
All right, I've been in the salon since I've been 13. I've known I wanted to do hair since I've been 5. My mom, I would like beg her to get me like Barbie dolls and shit. And then like I'd get home and like the hair would be all over the floor with scissors. And then like I would be like using markers and like coloring their hair. And then my mom would be like, I'm never getting you a Barbie doll because you like mess up every night. I'm like, no, you don't understand. So then from like that age, I knew like I wanted to do hair. So thankfully I like knew that I wanted to do this because I feel so bad for people that like go through their life that like never find their calling. And that like really like is so sad. So I've known basically my whole life that I've always wanted to do hair. So I had a learning disability and I wanted to go to Tech, but I couldn't go to Tech because they couldn't give me like the IEP that I needed. So then I just like graduated from Cosmo in 2010 and then I moved back to Philly because I'm originally from Philly. So then I did my schooling at the GMAT, Aveda Institute of Cosmetology in South Philly.
We almost have the same one.
I know.
You just said about learning disability and everything. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I really just
fancy.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So then I did that, graduated valedictorian, Kim like couldn't be. Because I was like not like I like was a great student, like she'll tell you like great student. Just, you know, when you're young, you know, I'm 31 now, but who I was at like 18 is totally not like now. So I was kind of like, they get their hair done. People always need their hair done. Men need their clipper cuts. Women need their color done. It is such a good career. So that's like my little pep talk. Oh, and then like color was like, I did not understand the shit. So I actually have like a book. So I'm gonna give a couple out today. Like if you can answer like some questions, we'll give it out. But my courses, I offer theory only courses, I offer hands-on only courses, and then I offer like a day where it's theory and hands-on. And then I do like customizing technique classes. So it's honestly to like fit your needs. I do recommend the theory course having at least 4 to 6 months experience under your belt before taking the theory course because it's like advanced education, so it can get a little crazy. So I recommend like 6 months in the salon before you take it, just so that you can get some experience with like seeing things and like doing hair, because some of it will just be like way over your head if you haven't like experienced like actual like stuff in the salon. So but yeah, no, this is a good book. It's a workbook. This is what I wrote. It basically simplifies color because I found like in school, or I just found like under some people, it was like it was just like too complicated, right? And I was like, why are you making this so complicated? So then I was like, okay, I need to like figure out a way to dumb this down to like make people understand it. So like this course is good for people that want to like dive deeper into color. This course is good for people that want to like expand their color business. This course is good for people that want to take their color education to the next level, people that want to level up, or people that just need a refresher. So it's good for a whole bunch of things. Today I'm kind of doing like the first chapter, which is first things first, because I say like, if you don't know the foundation of color, like you'll never like get it. Like honestly, you can use any color line as long as you know the theory of color. So color lines don't matter, right? You'll work with different color lines. You have so many great options back there, and you'll kind of like dibble and dabble on certain things, and you'll be like, oh, I don't like this one for this. Like I was a certified matrix colorist. I was like took their color mastery test, and I actually educated with matrix, and I used matrix for 10 years. And it was like the warmest color line I've ever had.
Let's start.
And I just felt like people still had ownership. Okay? Number one, our starting point is our house. Okay? You cannot do hair color, if you're doing a demi or a permanent hair color without this? What do you use to activate your hair color? What do you pour into your formula? What's that called? Developer. Okay. Your desired developer. So, desired tone, desired developer. Okay. This is how you formulate. It's really this simple, you guys. Once again, think of a road trip. I'm gonna say we're going to Philly because I've been to Philly a lot. So literally, I'm leaving my house, we're on the turnpike, I'm gonna go to the first rest stop, I get at Valley Forge, we're gonna stop again, and then I get to my sister's and I'm at my house, okay? So if you think like a road trip, first things first, natural level, second thing, desired level, third thing, the tone, fourth thing, the developer. That is how you formulate. It is that simple. Literally, don't think any further. It is that simple, okay? So, let's, so I wanna, the first, I can identify what this is right now. But when you're learning hair color, if you just have like your swatches, like your neutral, your ends would be levels 1 through 10 or 1 through 11, depending on whatever color line you're using. What you wanna do is so that you know how to like match it up, because it's very important. You can't say, oh, she's like a 4 or 5, or she's like a 9, 10, like that, there's no such thing. Because literally by saying that, you're gonna mess up your formula. So you have to literally know what is their natural level, okay? You wanna take a very, very tiny, weak like slice. You wanna be able to like read the settings through this, okay? Because if you take more hair, that's gonna look darker, okay? So take a very tiny slice, okay? All right. Then what you want to do is you're going to want to take like your swatches and fan the swatch out, because the swatch is going to look darker as well if it's all together. So fan it out, and then you want to take your swatch and you want to like kind of like put the hair into this hair. If the swatch disappears, you know that's the natural level. If it's too dark, it's not. If it's too light, it's not. So I typically will like take 3 colors and I'll be like, okay, I know she's not as dark as a 5, but I know she's not as light as a 7. Has to be a 6. Okay, in certain lines, if they're a level system, a 6 is going to be a light brown, and other lines it might be a dark blonde. It just depends, okay? And that doesn't matter as long as you're just going off of the numbers that they have, okay? So I'm gonna say she's a 6, okay? So we're gonna say her natural level is a 6. So she obviously curled, and they say they wear their hair straight and they never curl it, then sometimes that technique won't be for them because it'll look bad, and vice versa. It's best with techniques like these or ombres, anything of that nature, if they do curl their hair, but because it always looks best that way. But I do find, thank you so much, I do find that curling will always look best, but I think it's important for you to understand how to give them a look that looks best straight and curly. Especially if you have a client that says, I wear my hair straight 50% of the time and I wear my hair curly 50% of the time. If I have a client that says, I curl my hair all the time, then my technique is going to be different than if they wear it straight, and then my technique is going to be different if they do 50-50. So the first question actually that you want to ask is, how do you style your hair? Okay, because the last thing you want to do is do something that they wear their hair straight and it looks really bad, okay? So for this one, and you'll see, so like for this one, for example, and for this one. And today I'll go over what colors I'm using. But for example, you can see for this, I stayed with a cool family, and you can see with this, I stayed with a warm family. I am not into mixing the different families, because when you rinse, sometimes if the cool tones and warm tones mix, it can be muddy and ugly. So I like to stick with the tonal families that they live in because I think it looks best that way. I do not think putting red and orange up against something that's blue and purple or green looks okay. I don't like that. So once again, going back to the color wheel, I stick with warm colors together and I stick with cool colors together, okay? So this is what you call like a melt okay? And this was more, this was still like melting, but taking smaller pieces and kind of melting them into different colors together, okay? This is what you would call like a shadow root. So if you look at her root, you can see the first inch and a half is all the same red base, and you can see that it just melts in, getting lighter. And you can see it just kind of melts in, and then like on the sides, how I did it was I did more of a root around the face, but you can see how it seamlessly kind of just melts into the lighter color. Melting is always going to be dark to light. Shadow roots, balayages, ombres, everything is always going to be dark to light. When you do transitional colors, you want to make sure that you are always 2 levels apart. So if you're going to use demis or any kind of regular color, you want to make sure, for example, your root is a 4, you're transitioning 6, 8, 10. Okay, you don't want to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because you're not going to see a difference. Okay, you always want to stay at least 2 levels apart. Sometimes 3 is even better. Okay, and I'm going to go into today to show you how to melt them together to prevent lines, because I find that when you're doing ombres and balayages and melt, they're still, if you're doing, like, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's a highlight. You have to make sure you're saturating the hair, okay? If you're not saturating the hair, it's gonna dry out, it might not take as good, and things of that nature. So I'm gonna do this color. So, try not to like be messy though. You don't wanna have like color up here. Make sure to try to always keep the color just on the brush, because if you are working with a lot of hair, the last thing you want is for like color to touch somewhere that you don't want it to go, especially with colors that stain, because it's gonna be very hard to remove. I like to hit the perimeter first, and then you can see, now I'm gonna root, my shadow root for her is gonna be pink, so I don't really care if it gets up here because that's gonna be pink anyway. So just make sure you think about your game plan, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be as neat because I am gonna make her root pink, okay? But I'm just doing this real quick just to kind of get it out of the way, and then we'll get into the melting technique. So,
did you ever try the blues from Paul Bryant? You do? I had it.
In their semi-line?
Yeah, I feel like when I use, and I kind of use
okay, yeah.
I feel like even if they're at an orange level, that they still cover.
Are they green? Do you feel like?
I feel like we've had a lot of
2 minutes.
blue.
For sure, I'm not going to do a very
but not with
large shadow root because we don't have too much room to blend, okay? So when you do this, okay, I go in and I do like my touch up, but then what I do, I always like to outline my sections too. All right, so then the last thing that you want to do when you do this is to have like that kind of a line, okay? Like you don't want to do that. So what I'll do is, now that I established this, I'm actually going to turn my brush on a vertical angle, and I'm going to kind of just feather. But you can see I'm feathering really lightly. So because I don't want this to be as dark as that, so you can see that was like really heavily saturated, but I'm just kind of like going in and I'm feathering, okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? People need to get out of their mindset of like perfection, because this kind of a technique isn't like perfection, okay?
Wouldn't it be like a balayage type thing? Like the melting?
Feathering,
just like a color balayage, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
this isn't really balayage.
I'm talking about the freeform parting, you know what I'm saying?
No, this isn't really a balayage technique. This is just a feathering technique. So the technique of that is called feathering. Okay. So I'm gonna go back through. Now you guys can see You see how that pink looks though? You see how like seamless that is? Okay, that's how you want it to look all the time. Okay, you don't ever want to have a straight line, okay? You want to kind of like blend them up into each other. You don't want to like start here and then go down, because then what's going to happen is you're going to drag like more pink down with you. So I start like at the bottom, and then I kind of like feather in and work my way up, and then I'll go in like actually like go in on it. And you can see I'm even dragging some of the pink down with me like that. But then I will go in and I will do this again.
From roots to ends.
From roots to ends. And then look at what it does, you guys, with the purple into the pink. Like, look at that. Like, you will never see a line with that. But you want to marry the colors together. Okay, like you want to put that purple on top of that pink. You don't want to start the purple like below the pink line. You want to
I really need China.